Sometimes you feel like you're right there. Sometimes the thing that's making you go up and down and you're not moving forward, you're not leveling up. There's one thing I want to share with you today that if you really step into this, you're going to start seeing your life a whole lot differently. And I believe you're going to start having what you want. Keep watching. I am honored to be with you. This week alone, I had 2 clients. These are beautiful, powerful, educated women who were good, great wives as far as, faithful. They wanted a wonderful, united marriage, everything, you'd want in a marriage. But they had a block. When I lovingly confronted them about what they were doing, because marriage is mirror. I'll get into that in another broadcast. What they do, you do. I'll show you how. I don't do that. I don't do that. I've never done that. I would never talk like that. I would never treat anybody like that. It's not the act that they do. It's the essence of what they're doing. You do the same thing to them. Gosh, I don't have time to get into this broadcast. Oh, I want to talk about it so bad. Come on, keep coming back, you guys. Hey, make sure you like and share and subscribe and hit the little bell so that you get notified with new broadcasts. Here's the thing, that if you do this one thing, your life will start changing. Here's my 2 words. I'm going to say it and I want you to say it. Type it in the comments, okay? Remember, this is a friendly community. On those comments, we keep it friendly. Here are the 2 words. I want you to say it. Own it. I'm going to say it again. Own it. When people are in denial, when I bring up, you have a little bit of bitterness. No, I don't. You're enabling your son. Well, they've been through this and they went through this, and when they were born, they had this problem and this happened and this happened. And we lovingly face things that we got to face. If that's the block, we need to get into it and move it around. And if you can't own it, it owns you. What you cannot own owns you. So these 2 particular clients this week, I'm so proud of them. They had struggled for years. Here's the deal. When you don't own it, it's owning you. So what's happening is unconsciously, you are feeling shame. Shame says, I'm bad. The guilt is like, I did bad. I could have done better. I felt bad for what I did. But shame, it is a toxic little beast. It gets in there, it's got tentacles, it's vicious, it's got spikes, and it begins to alter who you are, even your personality. Because if you have shame, especially a great amount of it, it's going to spike your pride. It's going to spike your arrogance. In other words, shame is a type of liar. It is a type of wound. And what it does is it attacks your identity. So you get defensive because it feels like someone is attacking or insulting your identity. So when you have to face yourself in a mirror and you have to, it's time to acknowledge behavior you've been up to, or maybe a wound you have or pain you have or something. Look, it's only going to hurt for a second. You're not going to stay in pain. People are thinking, if I own that, or if I acknowledge that, or if I'm accountable for that, that means I'm guilty. That means it's all my fault. No, it doesn't. That means that you're going to take accountability for your part. And what happens naturally is other people start taking accountability for their part. When you start bringing down your wall of pride, your ego wall, other people start bringing down theirs. And that's the power of connection. That's relationship. And I always say that how people are treating you, especially if it's a pattern or been going on for a long time, you can already know what you're up to. Well, I don't act like that to people. I bet you do. You just probably do it differently. Nobody can see it. Or it'll show how you feel about yourself, because they're going to keep showing you how you feel about yourself by treating you a certain way. Now, I know I don't think like that. I don't do that. But if I can take you in your unconscious mind, you're going to go, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff, Dr. T. I had no idea this was here. And that's why I say own it. Because the quicker you own it, the quicker it starts to shift. Shame loves to be hidden, not talked about, pushed away. Denial, denial, denial. When you see people who live in a lot of denial, okay? They have a lot of resistance. They have to blame the other person. They have a hard time saying sorry. If they say sorry, they justify everything, which means they really didn't say sorry. They're just justifying. They're still not being responsible. But when you own something, you will begin to unconsciously respect yourself. You begin to have self-respect, not shame. Very different. And so if you are in shame, you have what starts being caused is an ego. Ego is like being defensive, being in denial, being real prideful, being really super overly sensitive, even absolutely super shy. I'm not talking about being introverted. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being painfully shy, because you're really worried about about what other people are thinking about you. So when you have a wound and you haven't healed it, your ego spikes. So when I'm working with these women, these men, now I'm thinking about other clients, so it's not just the two women, gosh, there's quite a few. But when I'm thinking about them who've had these blocks of ego, they couldn't own it. So it owned them. So they stayed where they were. And as soon as they owned it, the shame started leaving. Here's how I want you to own stuff. I want you to say, yes, I did do that. I am bitter. I do have unforgiveness. I am afraid of that. Maybe I did sabotage that. Let me look into that. Let me take a breath. And I'm a good person. And this doesn't mean I'm bad. And it's not all my fault, the whole world. It's not blaming me. This is not about that. Let me own my stuff. And then you celebrate. You know what? I'm proud of me that I owned it. I had to use courage. I had to be authentic. I had to be real. I had to be brave. I had to be bold. And I owned it. And I feel good that I owned it. Now you can start working on it. If you don't own it, it's not going to change. So when I work with these families that are warring, these couples that are, it's your fault. It's your fault. And some of these families, there have been almost emotional massacres that have happened in these families. We're not talking about little things like you didn't put the toilet seat down. No, I'm talking about pretty catastrophic things. But they want to see if they can have healing. They want to see if they can transform. They want to see if they can be friends. A lot of them come to me because they just want to divorce civilly. But what ends up happening is they realize their ego was the whole reason they were getting divorced in the first place. But I guarantee that if you really want to heal something and you want it to shift, whether it's your money or your life or any relationship, you're going to have to own some stuff. And I say this to you with so much love. Coming to you, Dr. T loves y'all, honey. I love you. And I am not pointing my finger and accusing you of being the one. Let me tell you who has to own her own stuff. Me. Let me give you an example. And I'm going to share a story of mine, something that happened to me. Okay. I was working at a church. I was the youth minister. It was a large youth group. We started off with like 5 kids and it grew really big. And I was going through something with my marriage at the time. So I was technically a single mother. For all intents and purposes, at least from day to day, daily responsibilities, because the kids were with me, and 2 boys, and oh my gosh, amazing kids. And now they're young men. Oh, I'm so proud. Anyway, I was, they were both in private school, so that homework load was no joke. And private school, you have to volunteer. Oh my gosh, that's like another job. So I was volunteering. I was working at the church on every Sunday. I was doing altar work. I was doing this. I was, sometimes I'd give a word. I was doing the youth pastoring basically, which was a Tuesday night I'd speak, but throughout the week, the kids would call me if they needed me. And I was ministering, and I had a full-time job in corporate America that I had to commute to and come back and go to my kids' daycare. And I was like late all the time because I had to commute. And sometimes I had to work overtime. And so I was, it was a lot going on. Kids' field trips, this, grocery shopping, cooking dinner, cleaning the house, everything you are honored to be able to do or have to do. So this lady at church, she is now such a dear friend of mine. Her name is Miss Janice. Yes, I'm talking about you. And years ago, she said, "You need some help. Can I help you?" Just the sweetest lady. But because of some wounds that I had and I guess the wound was big enough to cause a type of pride with me. Now, here's what she said to me. She said, Pastor T, you doing this and doing this and doing this, and you are serving everybody and running around and being diligent and, raising your kids and giving them all your time and loving on them. And you need help, but you won't let me or anybody help you. And here it comes. She said, you have pride. No one in my life ever said that to me before, because I was a grateful person, always, still at that time, a very grateful person. I like to think of myself as kind of a gracious person and slow to anger. I've always pretty much been slow to anger, and I love people so much. So when she said pride, listen, I did not own it right away, and I got offended. I meditated on that and prayed about it, and she was right. She was so right. And I went back and I thanked her, and she began to help me with things. And since then, I have been able to allow people to help me. And now I hire people. Ooh, Lord. Volunteers, staff. Oh my goodness. And I'm looking for more, because I actually need more help now that I'm at a new place and a new level. Thank God. And I want to say that if she had not called me out on it, the pride, I don't know how much longer I would have been in it, and my life would have been so much harder if I had not owned it. Because you can hear a loving corrective word, but if you don't own it, see, owning it means I acknowledge it and I'm proud of me for owning up to it. You know what? I'm not going to feel ashamed. I release the shame. And I own it. I own that I had pride. I own that it was hard for me to let somebody help me, because I made that mean, because it's all about what you make it mean. Everything is what you make it mean, not what it means. It's what you make it mean. Come on, somebody. That's a simple definition of psychology. The meaning we assign to it. So what I made it mean was, if I need help, I'm not good enough. I don't have my stuff together. I'm not a good enough mother, holy enough, good enough wife, whatever, if I need help. And that's another message too, that you can be serving and functioning and pouring out and giving and loving your family and really being a great parent and a great sister, brother, mother, child, whatever, a great employee, a great owner of a business, and still have stuff to work on. That's why you need a coach. Go on over to SoundMindToday.com. Get at me. I'd love to talk with you. And if you're serious, I lovingly want to help you get to where you really want to be. But it's a connection and it's a commitment, and we commit to each other and we do the work. I want people who are ready to change their life. They don't know how. That's okay. You don't have to know the how. The how is what happens when we come together. The how is what happens when we do these exercises and we go through. It comes forward. It is the most magnificent, amazing thing. My programs that I have, the one-on-one coaching, the group calls. Anyway, this is Dr. T with SoundMindToday.com. Own it so it won't own you, and then you can shift it. In fact, the people I was referring to earlier, bam, just like that, breakthrough, 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 because they owned what they were up to. No shame in your game. Own it. Feel proud that you are. Please like, share, subscribe. And again, this is Dr. T with Sound Mind Today. I'm so happy to be with you. Oh, subscribe, hit the bell, to get notified. All right, y'all. I'll see you real soon. Mwah! Oh man, I love you. Thank you for being with me today. Bye-bye.